and there are plenty out there and plenty more to come by Amazon and Google, because these data centers are part of our new AI reality, and they are a necessary evil. But what we're learning is that our state government, and now with layering in the substantial Trump administration corruption overlay from the feds, that that maybe, I hope you're sitting down, the benefits may not outweigh the costs. For instance, oftentimes when these data centers are proposed, they talk about the benefits, including employment, jobs, or bringing jobs to your area. These data centers, current day, and even more so going forward, are going to be almost completely automated. So there is perhaps an initial larger number of humans needed to get the data center off the ground. But in many cases, some of the real human needs are very specialized, and these companies are bringing in their own people from outside. So you say, what we're going to do for this wonderful company, Meta or Amazon, is we're going to give uh, tax abatements. So property tax and then sales tax, and in some cases, Ohio, Indiana, Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana. You notice a theme that the states that are going to be what I would argue is victimized are they're all red states, and they are also uh, red states with conservative governors. This is going to be forced down their throats. And what the benefits that the citizens are going to enjoy are increased cost of electricity and decreased access to potable water, because these massive data centers require a tremendous amount of electricity, and they also need to be cooled by water. Now, if you are of the belief that big businesses like Meta and and Amazon and Google can be trusted to, for instance, use bring additional water resources to the community. Not this guy, but if you want to work on the assumption that they're going to, through conservation, pipe repair, and I don't know, desalinization or divine intervention, that more water. We're not talking about turning wine into water to cool data centers. So it's sort of uh, a a physical science impossibility that places that also that already have a scarcity, as many places in the country do, of potable or drinking water, are going to magically be able to find or dig for enough additional resource to satisfy the tremendous appetite of the data centers, then you are a more forgiving human being than I am. I'm not buying it. So a state, we'll just use Indiana for an example. And I know that local property tax rates different based on the state. So I'm going to generalize in some instances. But if a state says that we're going to give you 20 to 30 years without any property taxes, and some states are being incentivized by the federal government to make a lifetime commitment once the data center is open on property taxes and some sales tax abatements, holidays, or however it's going to be termed, last for 20 or 30 years. I'm not an engineer, but once they're there in your community, how is it that you're going to, and they're going to be, need to be upgraded? I would argue that the jobs that are going to be delivered to your community, the good paying jobs that these companies always advertise, are going to evaporate almost immediately due to automation. And all that the local community is going to be left with is an electricity bill that's 20 to 30% higher. Recent studies about the impact of data centers, in one in Virginia in particular, estimates were the last figure I saw was a 250% increase over 5 years. But without being a math major, it's guess what? It's a lot more. So then you have to, if you want to extrapolate that out, you need to rely on DJT to put the arm on Amazon, Meta, and all of his other friends that attended the inauguration to provide their own sources of power. Now, this is the right way to do it, probably. You say before you get the permit to build the data center, you need to show us your plan, Mr. Meta, for generating the amount of electricity that you need to run the data center. There are they going to, is Jeff Bezos going to turn into the king of nuclear energy? Probably not. He's doing other things. He's currently planning his third wedding. Mark Zuckerberg is building a dojo and educating neighborhood kids in a school on his property that the neighbors are very concerned about, that's turned into a tech bro madrasa. These people have other hobbies. So are they going to willingly commit to uh, electricity generation, more than proposals, but promises, commitments, before they construct these data centers? No. What they'll do is they will prey on red state governors and legislatures at the direction of DJT that will allow them to build these, like in Monroe, Louisiana, in Texas, and a number of places, in Mississippi, in other poorer areas of the country where land is more reasonably priced, to allow them and say, if you don't let us do this, then China is going to beat us at AI and the world will end. So it's your patriotic duty to let us exploit your state for the benefit of our private enterprise. How does that sound? It sounds a lot like what the robber barons were doing in the late 1880s and 1890s. It sounds an awful lot, a lot like railroads. It sounds a lot like Henry Ford. It sounds a lot like the entire history of government's relationship with private enterprise, where your government, particularly with DJT and the Republicans, are going to act as a concierge to allow private enterprise to exploit your state, your land, your quality of life for this emergency, emergency perhaps of their own making, because the planning and the substantial expense related to having that extra electricity generation wasn't done because they wanted to pass the cost on to the citizenry where they could. That's part of their DNA. We're back to our the primary role of a CEO, Milton Friedman. It's about shareholder equity. So we're going to screw the citizenry in order to make more money for our shareholders, and not coincidentally, the shareholders such as Mr. Zuckerberg, Mr. Bezos. You know that Elon's going to be dipping his toe into this water in about 15 minutes, and Google and many others. So if you look at the map, very few blue states are participating. My home state of Massachusetts is in a small way, but they lawyered up and they are having clawback provisions where if they do not meet the targets on electricity, water, employment that are promised from the outset, then the companies will get banged up in court, and essentially they'll just have to write really, really big checks. The challenge in the clawback provisions, if any, in the red states, is that it's much weaker sauce in all of those places, including Indiana, Ohio, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. That the provisions written into those the clawbacks are weak and favor the businesses well above the interest of the citizens. So yeah, so look at it on the map again. It's red states that are going to be, and it's going to be fast tracked now because Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and their friends. These are smart people. They're billionaires. They didn't get lucky. They worked hard and they made money and surrounded themselves with really qualified people that helped them succeed. A lot like your president, except for the smart thing in the surrounding themselves by good people. They will fast track this to make it an inevitability, fast track the construction to get it all as much as they can completed within the remaining 3 years of Donald Trump's administration. And then it is, fait accompli. It's or done deal. So, as the great philosopher said, at that point, citizens will have to suck it up and deal with it. That is for today. Our love letter to Zuckerberg, Bezos, and friends who are. This is really. They are not in business to help local communities. They will pay lip service to get approvals by suggesting either that they're going to deliver on jobs that they can't deliver on, and they'll certainly front load estimated economic impacts where they could bring on X hundreds of people. But the way that this has played out is that they promise 10, they deliver 2, and then they replace 1 with a robot within a within a year of construction being completed, and there just ain't nothing left. So, in any case, wishing you all a beautiful day and a gorgeous day in Massachusetts and 20 degrees, walking the beautiful puppy at sunrise, and we get on closer to the holidays, and we'll all soldier on. Thanks again, and have a beautiful day.